Welcome to Pickup Game. I'm Seth Greenberg, and today's conversation is going to be really interesting because I really believe there's one thing about having conversations. The other thing is having solution-based conversations, and that's what, quite honestly, the NABC, John Calipari, Tommy Amaker, Frank Martin, who's chairing the NABC Committee on Race, is doing. And we're going to get into that in a second. But before every show, and we say this and we can't say it enough, we can't thank our essential workers, our first responders, our frontline workers, the doctors, the nurses, the hospital workers, the people that move our food chain, and all the people that are sacrificing each and every day to enable us to live our lives. And if you think about it, they are the ultimate teammates because they're going into situations and putting their own lives at risks for the good of others. They're making sacrifices so that others can live and be alive. And then the other thing we've got to do, and I am really, really a big believer in this, we've got to learn as a society to be comfortable being uncomfortable. We got to understand, all right, that, you know what, with this pandemic, we've got to make decisions. We've got to be disciplined. And it's real simple. Put on your mask. Wear your mask because you know what? That's the best thing we can do right now to try to control this virus. And you know what? It's selfless. It's selfish if you don't put it on. Do something for someone else. All right. I understand. You know what? I understand it could be uncomfortable, but it's the right thing to do. And then the discipline that goes along with it is, you know, you have to give up some things for the good of the group. No different than when you ask a team to accept a role. And you know what the role we all need to accept is? We need to understand that we're going to have to change our lifestyle some until we get this pandemic under control. So you don't have to go out. You don't have to hang out. You have to find ways to occupy yourself until we can be a safer society and have a cure for this virus. So those things are really, really important. But we're going to kick off. We have Frank Martin on with us. And Frank, is chairing the Committee on Race for the NABC. And we've got John Calipari with very long hair from what I've understood.
I got it trimmed a little bit. My wife is mad because I kept the ponytail. I said, I want the ponytail. Forget about it.
How much would people pay, Frank, if Cal coached the first game of the season, full ponytail and beard?
I know I'm contributing to that one. I don't care what the number is. I need to see that one. I might miss my game and fly in for his game to see that.
Whatever I'm wearing, Frank, you know. Hey, whatever you're paying, you know, in South Carolina, I'm going to be thrown out of the game anyway. Ponytail, no ponytail, it don't matter.
He does not survive very many games at South Carolina. That is true. I mean, it's not good being in the studio when Kentucky's playing South Carolina at South Carolina, because then you're going to have to say something, and the Big Blue Nation will lose their minds because he's getting thrown out. But moving on from that.
Frank, can I tell the story?
Hey, Greeny, I got to share this story with you, you know, because the game ends, you know, win or lose, most of us, we still find each other in the tunnel and just, hey, you know, whatever, keep your head up, whatever. Hey, we played good. You didn't, whatever. Cal's one of those guys that I don't care if I win or lose. When the game's over, I respect the heck out of him, so I'm going to go find him. So he gets tossed. So I'm looking for him. He's nowhere to be found. So it's like an hour after the game, I get a call from him. He goes, hey, sorry, I didn't. It's a Saturday noon game. He says, sorry, I didn't stick around. I just landed in Florida. I needed 2 days on the beach to recompose myself. I'm like, can I be John Calipari for one day? I mean, holy cow.
That was a planned. I got to get away. I'm giving the kids 2 days off. And I just said I left early. I happened to leave early.
Hey, that was the day, and we're going to bring Tommy in here right a sec, that all of a sudden the next day I get a phone call, and you tell me, Cal, you can't believe where I am. And I said, where are you? He goes, I'm in Florida because Cal's condo, well, actually the penthouse, was just up from my little 1,200 square foot little Ponderosa. So he goes, I go, it's unbelievable. Karen's there. He goes, I'm walking right by your building right now. She opens up the door. He's up there waving. He's walking right by it. That was unbelievable.
Hey, and I'm running drills trying to help guys make left-handed layups.
All right. Hey, we have Tommy Amaker that's going to be joining us. I think he's going to join us right now.
Am I in? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you,
We
man.
got you.
Good
All
seeing you.
right, guys.
Hey,
How you
the
doing?
reason I wanted to get you guys together, obviously, is Frank, you're chairing the NABC Committee on Race, and Tommy, you and Cal have been so involved with the McClendon Foundation and creating an initiative to change people's lives. And I know all you guys are all not just about conversation. You're about solutions. So can you guys explain what you're trying to create and what has happened since the beginning of kind of the vision that you started to create this initiative?
Why don't you guys talk first, because what you guys are doing is great.
Well,
Why don't you guys talk first?
Yep. Well,
No,
Seth,
Coach, you started off for us now. Damn it, let's go.
All right. Well, what you two have done, which I love, you guys got together in a short period of time. You said, we're making a change, and here's what we're demanding. Here's what we think is fair. Here's what we think is right. And tell them what you guys came up with, the two things that we're going to do right now. We're all on this call here. We're solution-based. I know issues. I know problems. What's the solution? And so why don't you guys talk about what you guys did?
Well, I'll jump in there now. Seth, thanks so much for having us and me on this, and appreciate you doing it. And Coach Cowell was instrumental, in this McClendon Minority Leadership Initiative, and the thought was created and the idea was derived from him, and the idea to help minorities get a pathway and hopefully a tailwind into athletic administration. Looking at athletic administration, knowing that it needs to be more diverse, and that's not the only area around the country that we talk about that needs more diversity, but it's in our lane, it's on our campuses. We wanted to be able to say that we're going to work inside out, start where we are, where our feet are, with our programs, our teams, our campuses, our departments, our communities. And I just thought, having an opportunity for Frank and myself and other coaches to take part in this, an amazing initiative that was created under the McClendon Foundation umbrella. Seth, it's, that name McClendon means a lot to a lot of people, but me specifically, it really resonates with, just the legacy of a great African-American man, and, someone that stood for and is synonymous with teaching and education, for fairness, all the things that we know that we are trying to always impart on our student athletes, our players, that go beyond the 94 by 50. Well, the McClendon Minority Leadership Initiative, you can find it at, minorityleaders.org. Is just an incredible way, that we have kind of been able to galvanize our coaches together on an initiative and a project here that means so much to all of us. And as Coach Cal says, it's a coach-driven initiative. Like we're kind of the backbone and the fundraising and the point persons and individuals for it. And we couldn't be more proud how it's taken off. And I know Frank has some thoughts about it as well. But I know I'm proud to be a part of it because of the man McClendon and the mission, that we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, Green. Guys, I just told Seth before we went live that since he was on the saddle like we are, that he'd be real proud of the NABC right now. The NABC, I mean, some of the stuff that's going on, the energy, the enthusiasm for our business, for the profession, for the players, for opening doors, taking this moment, just has been real powerful. And for me, it all started. We're all three of us were on a board call, and I was pretty adamant with some experiences I've had, and all of a sudden I was told, like, well, you're Frank, why don't we follow your lead? And in that same call, I'm not trying to take away from certain people. I'm just trying to express what happened. Conzo Martin, Tommy Amaker, and John Calipari and I were probably the most outspoken people on that call. And Tommy said to me, he said, Frank, sometimes we choose, other times the moment chooses us. And at that time, Seth, I said, well, if I'm going to get on this saddle, Tommy's coming with me. And he's the point guard. I'm that dumb power forward that just screams and knocks people over. And he can think us through things, and I'll go over and knock down whatever I got to knock down. But And then Cal, we left that meeting. And then the next time we had a conversation, Cal says, guys, I got something. And he threw this McClendon initiative in front of us. And we were like, wow, we're Tommy and I were like, we're in. And the rest is history. And now we're just pushing forward and trying to do whatever we can to make it better for minorities, for people of color, for our business, for our players. 20 years from now, people look
for
back
women,
for everybody. It's a great deal.
So
let me add this.
Explain what the initiative is in terms of the fundraising aspect of it, and what is that money going to be going exactly to, so that people can.
So let me start by saying the initial thought was we were going to do this at Kentucky. Like, let's create 8 positions. Let's create the next leaders. Let's be that place where the next minority leaders, men and women, want to go and be trained. And then all of a sudden, everybody said, Cal, it's scalable. It's scalable. As long as you get other coaches involved and their administrations at those other schools involved, this is scalable. Guess what? We got 70 coaches right now. We got almost 60 schools that are in. We're trying to get every league office to create 2 positions, one for a minority man, one for a minority woman, to train. How about league offices that are sending out all these position papers and this is what we're going to do and we're about access? How about each of you hire a few of these positions within every league office? So we're talking those, but here's what it is. Young, and there's going to be some people that are going to have 10 years experience in this too, because it's going to be about 70 positions, maybe a few more. This is opportunity and access that they wouldn't otherwise have. This is applying for a job that you truly have a chance to get. Now, let me say this. It's going to be a challenge because it's going to be about 1 in 8 will get the job. But as we go through this, it's about the next wave of leaders. How do we develop them? How do we teach them? How do we get them to be in leadership positions? Within an athletic department, there's probably 12 leadership positions. If you look around the country, we don't have a diversity problem on the field. We have a diversity problem in those leadership positions, which leads to an issue with, do we have enough minority coaches of color in men's basketball, women's basketball, football? Well, again, we're trying to get to the root of it. But we needed coaches that would be active, that would be committed to more than just 1 year. This is not an optic. That would be the point of funding. The money is being donated by the coaches, and however they get a football coach with them, they get a women's coach, they get a booster with them. The money goes through the McClendon Foundation. What we're suggesting is each of these future leaders are paid $2,500 a month. You say, why $2,500? That'd be $30,000 for the year, or $25,000 if it's a 10-month position, because we don't want them to have to take a loan, take a second job, dip into savings. This is supposed to be a springboard. Win behind them. This is their opportunity to show who they are, show what they're about, to earn this position that they know they have a right to, and they just want a chance. That's what this was. And it has exploded. Now, Tommy will tell you, we're looking at this saying, we think this will affect business. You may have people walk out of here and get a job in a company that's looking for a minority accountant or something. Or how about start your own business? How about get into nonprofits? It is wide ranging. Tommy, we don't know, Frank, where this thing's going, but we do know that it's going to have an impact.
That's one of the beauties of it, is that we really don't know, Seth. You know, this is an opportunity that, as Coach just mentioned, that it can take off in a variety of different directions and ways. And, you know, how cool is that? But to think of that this has been a coach-driven initiative that has absolutely created and started this pathway. Or who knows where some of these individuals are going to go and who they're going to become. I do think, too, like, as much as we're going to bring to them as on our campuses and what we're trying to be an ambassador and mentoring of them, I think we're going to find there's going to be some incredibly talented people that are going to be able to bring some things to us. I think once you find out, like, you know, they're pretty talented in graphics or pretty, astute in, something with facilities. And, this is what we're hoping to create. There's an amazing amount of hidden talent across the world. You know what? I think we're going to uncover some hidden gems and some hidden talents that we're going to want to be, the recipients and the goodwill of. They're bringing something to us as much as we're going to try to bring to them. And as Coach mentioned, it can go in a variety of different directions of corporate America, but leadership positions that we're trying to help develop and create for women and men and minorities. And, how awesome and cool is this when we're going to be able to look back after a period of time and see, that we have had a hand in or have direct responsibility of trying to help develop, some of the future leaders in our country, in our world.
That gets me to a point that, first of all, having coaches take the initiative, because one of the things that really bothers me since I've been out of it is the perception people have that coaches they have no understanding of how much coaches genuinely care about the betterment of their schools, players that play from people in their community, and how many things coaches do that has nothing to do with basketball, that just want to have an opportunity to change lives. Basically, I'm a big believer in, we all have to build bridges for someone else. So here's my question to you guys. This is an incredible initiative, and it could be an initiative maybe for a former player, it could just be an initiative for someone that obviously is pursuing a career in athletic administration. Why wouldn't the NEBC also push this initiative? I think we've devalued education. We've devalued education because, let's face it, everyone thinks they're going to play in a league. That league is a very exclusive club. We've devalued education. How do we bring education to the forefront again? And the second thing is, why wouldn't the NABC try to have an initiative where all of you guys can create network programs for your players, network programs for some type of internships, so that they're meeting and developing relationships with people that can build bridges for them when their playing careers are over? Why can't we find a way to make that legal so that now we're finding the people that you're spending your most time with, all right, you have an opportunity to, obviously, they want to be pros, but here's another bridge that they can cross to build their future. I mean, is there any chance of trying to build something like that?
Right. Let me jump in because I've got to go, guys. But I told Seth I wanted to spend a couple minutes with you guys on this. So I'm going to answer my version of it, Seth, and I know these three guys who I've gotten to know as human beings, these two guys and myself, if Cal and Tommy have both gotten a taste of professional basketball coaching and playing, I've never have. We've chosen to stay in college basketball because education is important to us three, and there's so many of us that's what matters. And then and to the points you just made, Seth, that's what I'm telling you, man. If Seth, if you'd be privy to some of these conversations that are taking place within the NABC right now, to start paying attention to some of the great things that coaches do in our country at all levels, not just Cal, Kentucky, but guys at Division II and at all levels at the collegiate model. It's powerful stuff, and this is why I'm excited, because the guys that are in that room with me right now, they're going to see it through. They're going to push to make sure that it happens. Where he could sit back and Kentucky's going to be fine. But yet he is going out of his way to make it better for everybody, to make it better, using that moment because of the school that he's at and the amount of people that follow his university. He's using that moment, that job title, to make this better for everyone that wants to be a part of college athletics. Now, I'm not talking about coaches. He looks out for coaches. I'm talking about the players. I'm talking about the campuses, everything that encompasses college basketball. He's fought really hard, and that's why I'm telling you, the guys in the room right now, you're talking to three of them. We're going to push and see these things through. But sorry, guys, I got to go. I got a previous meeting. And besides, Tommy's going to get one more sentence in. Seth, you're going to get another word, and then it's the John Calipari show.
Hey, Frank, thanks a lot, brother.
Oh, man. Tommy, I know.
Listen, Coach Seth, we want Coach Cal to speak. Listen, you can make sure the head person puts him on mute right now because he won't allow me to finish this. But I want to say this: like he's been instrumental in creating this and really driving this, and I'm proud to partner with him on this. And the other thing, we're trying to make sure not only just us, the Power 5 schools and coaches, but HBCUs are getting involved. Coach Cal has made that happen. Like he won't take the credit for it, but damn it, I want you to know, and everybody else is listening, like he's made that happen with his own money. Like, you're talking about us trying to put this together, but it doesn't happen without him. It doesn't happen for North Carolina Central University, where Coach McClendon first started his career, his legendary career, who we're doing it under his name. He became an icon and a legend and a Hall of Famer. Well, he started at North Carolina Central, and that school was called North Carolina College for Negroes at that time. It became North Carolina Central, and that's where he began his career. Well, we thought that Central should be included in this. Coach Lavelle Moten, but Coach Cal made that happen. Like he made sure that was going to take place for us to have HBCUs involved. So we're proud of this as a coaching fraternity, a coaching community. And as Frank mentioned, as you know, Coach Seth, you need coaches with Coach Cal, Coach K, Coach Patrick Ewing, all the Coach Conzo Martin, all the coaches. Coach Cal just told us on another call we had just earlier was like we're going to get football coaches involved, whether it's Coach Nick Saban and Dabo Sweeney but all of this is starting to kind of take traction and to build and to grow. And we're all proud of it because it is a coach-driven initiative.
I got to keep Seth out of this. So let me say this. You talked about all the best all this basketball involved. We are worried, how do we get middle level schools involved or the lower level? Or how about this, Division 2 and 3, who want to be involved in this? Where do we come up with funding? What kind of plan do we put together? When we get this up and running this year, that's the next challenge for us. How about Nick Saban involved? How about Herm Edwards and I spent an hour on the phone? How about Marvin Lewis? How about Lovie Smith? How about Jimbo Fisher? How about Dabo Sweeney? This is taken on. How about Gino Ariema? We got women's coaches, Mark Stoops from here, Matthew Mitchell from here. This thing is taking off, but we've got to make sure we're not leaving behind anyone. The HBCUs, I've been on the phone and started my first conversation with Greg Moore to say, tell me how this sounds. Tell me what you think it does for you guys. What is it doing for the young people? How can we work together? And he and I have done interviews together for that. This would never work if it were just Kentucky. This would never work if Tommy Amaker wouldn't step up and say, Cal, let's do this. Because I needed someone who could go in his orbit. I go in my orbit. We bring these all together. And now we'll have 60 schools involved this year. Let's have 120 next year. And let's have 300 the following year. Let's have data in 5 years that shows us, are we having an effect? Is this doing something? And is it doing more than just athletics? This is not just about athletes. This is about anybody out there that says, I've never had a chance. I never had an opportunity. I don't have the connections. If you're out there, you're a minority. If you're a woman, we're looking to hire somebody at Kentucky that way in this position. Apply. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge, but you're going to have an opportunity. And so that's, Tommy, I'm kind of getting to it, but this is about leaders, decision makers that will change what our sport looks like in 10 years.
How do you apply?
We got to start somewhere.
How do you apply? So here someone's listening to this. How do you go about applying? Where do you go to apply? Who obviously are the decision makers within those? Is it going to each institution or is it going to the foundation?
Tommy, you want me? Tommy, you want me to do this? All right, I'll do it.
You got it.
Yeah,
Coach.
All right. So we already have over 100. Okay. We already have 150 young people, minority leaders have already applied. We haven't put up the jobs yet. They've already gotten phone calls from ProLink Staffing. You go to minorityleaders.org. It'll show you how to apply. College graduate, you're going to have to write an essay. You're going to be interviewed by ProLink Staffing. You're going to apply for multiple jobs. You're going to look across the board. Those jobs are not posted yet, but you would go there, look at the jobs that are posted, look at the area of the country. We got Gonzaga in this, but we also have Texas A&M in it. We also have Georgetown and Harvard in this. We have 60 schools. Now, the candidates will be interviewed by the universities. Wherever ProLink Staffing pushes, we're going to have 5 positions. Okay, we'll probably have 15 to 20 candidates. Why? Because we want the candidates to learn to interview and be in this. You may ask, well, what about the state of athletics right now? It's in flux. Well, this is the time. This is the moment to start this program. And you know what? If the first year they have to learn to work remotely, guess what, Seth? We all are learning to work remotely. And so there's a lot of it here, but minorityleaders.org. How about this? If you're a business and you're looking to invest into a diversity program, invest here. You now get access to the database of all the people that applied. There's going to be 500 that aren't going to get these positions. There'll be the others that do. Now that database is available to you. So we're trying to make this bigger than just athletics.
Tommy, like at your university, what when they heard about this initiative, what was their support? What was their kind of feeling about it? What was their support level? I think Tommy's frozen. Tommy? All right, we'll go for it. Cal, till he comes back, real quickly. Your guys are back on campus, right?
Yes.
What is the protocol now for you guys in terms of working with your guys, their living situations? How different is it now? I see your mask around your neck, which is absolutely awesome because we started the show talking about just be comfortable being uncomfortable, make good decisions, put that damn thing on so that you can do the right thing. But what is what are you guys going through on a daily basis now?
Seth, you've been here. Is this the ultimate bubble? They live in the lodge, right? They walk across the parking lot. They walk into the practice facility, the weight room, the training room, all here. No one is in the building, no offices. I'm in my office, but there are no one in this building. So don't talk to me about air conditioning and all that. There's no one in the building. Now they go back across the parking lot. There's a chef in there or, in there, the lodge that's cooking them box meals. So then they take the box meal, they can go to their room. They can go outside. They can do what they want. But at that point, everybody around them has been tested, including the cook, the chef. He's been tested. We all been tested, managers. So we're in the ultimate bubble. Even that being said, social distancing, masks, okay? We're working with our guys, one coach, one player, and a manager. We need a manager because I can't shag balls anymore. I mean, go get your own ball. Went over there. I can't shag them like I used to. But so it's that way. So I am spending a lot of time in the gym, which I love. It's what I do. I'm watching them work out on the conditioning outside. I'll stop in the weight room and see them in there. But this, we're not doing 5-on-0. We're not doing anything together yet. Before they go home for a week, we'll probably try to do some 5-on-0 to just get them acclimated. Right now, get in shape. Let's start your individual stuff. Let's get to know one another. And now we're going to blend into the other stuff. This is the ultimate bubble here, though, the way it is. We're not on an off-campus apartment. We're not 3 living here, 2. Everyone is in the lodge. You ready? Their own bedroom and their own bath. Not sharing anything. So it's a pretty good setup.
How have the kids adjusted? And this is, you talk about being comfortably and uncomfortable. How have the kids adjusted to the new normal? Like how do they seem? You've had players come and go. You've always had large freshman classes. Just what's the feeling around for them? I mean, I can't imagine being an 18-year-old in this environment.
Yeah, they have two things. The one, they went 4 days of medicals before we got started. They went 2 weeks, another 14 days. That's 18 days that we coaches couldn't be near them. So the only thing they could do is chart out time to come over and shoot by themselves without a manager. Now, we have the gun, so they got the rebounding machine and all that, but they weren't allowed to be around each other, coaches, no one for 14 days, no, 18 days. They were having cabin fever. They're calling me, where are you, coach? We want you to work with us. Could you come back? I couldn't go see them during that time. I couldn't wave from the car to them. So now when I get back, I'm trying to spend all my time with them. But we weren't going to have them go home. But for their mental health, we have to let them go home. I mean, we were just going to say, come and stay, and we'll start the year, and we can't do it. You have to worry about these kids' mental health too. You can't. I call it common sense. They look at me and say, "You're not a doctor." Yeah, but I'm a doctor of common sense, and I'm telling you that we've got to worry as much about mental health as the virus. And so now, where we weren't going to have them go home, now we'll have three or four that won't go home anyway. But the other 6 need to get out to get restarted, to know they're going to come back, and we'll be a little bit better off, we hope, by that time.
What is the university's position now, just in terms of athletic department? Is Kentucky bringing their students back on campus right now?
They'll bring them back on I think it's August 17th. And there was something out yesterday that I saw that they will test every student that comes back on campus. So they will be tested. Our kids have gotten tested a couple times. I think it's important that you test and there's no false negatives. The testings are getting way, way better. We did have one player that had the antibodies. The others did not. It's important. And then that's the question, when we come back and we're all together, how is this going to work for athletics? How is it going to work for these kids? And to be honest, look, I care about all the students here. I care about every athlete here, but I care more about my 12. I just do. And I want to make sure those 12, I'm responsible for those 12. I'm answering to their parents. We're on a Zoom call once every 10 days with the parents to tell them what's the update of what we're doing. None of it concerns basketball. It's all how we're keeping them healthy, what we're doing. We talked about them having cabin fever and saying, I understand. Could you imagine you or me in one room 20 hours a day? How you and I would be pacing, doing backflips, push-ups with our feet against the wall. I mean, one kid was bouncing the ball so much in the room, the guy below him was like, Coach, I'm going crazy. The dude's bouncing balls for 12 hours a day. I can't take it. I'm right below him. I mean, so it's not just that. And here's the other thing, Seth. Our kids, I don't care, Tommy's kids, my kids, Frank's kids, they're basketball players. They want to play basketball. That's what they do. To say you can only do this and this, if they've all tested and you're in a bubble, now there's a little bit more. You've been tested, you've been retested. Okay, now letting them do some stuff together, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, where they've all, and they're staying in the bubble. This is not going to an apartment, going to off-campus food. We're not even letting them get it. You ready? DoorDash. We're not, because that's another person that could be in the bubble. And at some point, we're going to do some stuff where they can leave things outside of the lodge to eat. So we're just being ultra careful. So is our campus. Our league is being careful and has the protocols that we're all following within our league. But it's been a tough challenge for our kids. It's a tough challenge.
Tommy, the Ivies aren't going to have any sport this fall. What kind of feedback do you guys get from your leadership on when your guys come back, and like when are your guys supposed to be back on campus?
Yeah, Seth, we everything is going to be driven, by the science and the guidelines of the health experts. And, we've canceled IV sports for fall sports and for all fall competition. And, it's just the way that it is. We were out in front of things in the spring where we thought that was in our best interest, with the IV tournament being canceled. And, it was not necessarily looked upon as a favorable decision back then. But it certainly turned out to be a very wise one. And so we're just, I think we're going about it the right way for us in our league. And I support the decision. I support the decision for us to always follow the science and the health experts. One of the things that Coach Cal and I talked about with other coaches, in terms of the mental health of the kids that, we're under our supervision, our direction. Our kids aren't back yet, but when they do come back, there'll be certain things that we are able to do, but we haven't been told any of that as of yet. But we do feel about the mental health, aspect of our kids. You guys may have talked about that already, but it's important that we're making sure that we're aware of that, with all these kids that, part of this is making sure they stay connected. That's a big part of the mental health when you have issues and problems of when you find disconnect or disconnection. Well, we need to make sure we stay connected with our kids in whatever way that is that we're allowed to do that. I think that's really important that we think of it along those lines.
How have you guys been able to just, this is a long period of time to be away from your guys. How have you been able to stay connected, stay invested? I say this a lot of times, like there's a life on campus. I always feel that a student athlete, especially, maybe different than a regular student, the safest place they can be is on campus because they're going to have access to the best doctors. If someone gets sick, they're not going to an emergency room. They're going to the best doctors humanly possible. They're going behind the curtain, and they're getting right in. They're getting nutrition. They're getting housing. They have support systems. But how has it been where you haven't had that in this period of time? How do you grow your team? How do you grow that relationship individually and grow that trust with those players?
Well, for us, Seth, one of the things that's pretty interesting about the Ivies, we don't have summer school. Our kids aren't around in the summer, so this is not something that's been totally, unheard of or new for us. Obviously, the pandemic and what they're able to do and where they are, all of that's different. But for them not to be on campus is not something that's new. By the time the season's over, they're tired of me, so they're ready to get out of there. But we do have, where our thought on our institutions and the institutions Ivy League is that, a third of your education should be outside of the classroom activities. We believe in that. So we promote, internships, summer jobs. We want them to play ball if they want to play in their home summer league. They'll represent their country in international play with some of the foreign kids we've had, or even USA basketball, if that's possible. So we're encouraging them to be involved and engaged in different things, but not necessarily with them here on campus with us. And so that's nothing that's really new for us. Obviously, it's new that the pandemic is a part of the reason why, everyone is away from each other. That's definitely obviously unprecedented.
Cal, obviously really different for you. I mean, besides growing the beard, which I'm not sure about the beard. I like the ponytail, though, I have to admit. Ponytail Cal could be that could be like, what do you call it, a meme or something? Ponytail Cal losing it. I think that would be big. But for you used to kind of like having them there, and this is how you take these freshmen and make them sophomores and juniors by the middle of the season. How different has it been for you to really kind of get into those guys?
Well, it's changed over the years. Seth, when we first got started, nobody had summer school. No one stayed on campus.
Right.
You went back and you did your thing, and we had our summers. We did and now all of a sudden it became, we're going to let them on campus. And it was a great academic decision. Why have graduation rates gone through the roof in college basketball? Why have we had the highest African-American graduation rates in basketball in the history of our sport? Summer school. why have the HBCUs been unfairly punished for APR, Tom? They don't have money for summer school, so they get punished by that. So it's been good. But then we went to let them play pickup, and now it's like we're working with them in the summer. We're probably doing more. If they had open gym and they could play pickup, for me, that would be enough, because I just want them to be in condition with weight, strength, and conditioning, and get to know one another, get to have access to one another where they become a team. This year, it's been about Zoom. It's been about texting, sending them books that I want them to here, open up your mind a little bit with this. But the Zoom calls get old, and it gets old for them. And that's why we say we coaches want access as much for mental health as anything else, that we're able to be connected with our team. They need us now. My guys now they'll have enough of me, like Tommy said. Mine are usually about by January. Then they're done. I've heard enough of this guy. But right now, they want to see me. They want me around. So, it's been different. But my concern is, how do I make sure I'm there the way they need me right now?
Well, Coach and Coach Seth, I think one thing to add to what Coach Cal said about access, it's usually been termed, that we want access to them. It's the other way around now. They need to have access to us. And I'm not saying specifically for Harvard or Ivy League schools, but in general, in college basketball, the masses, the rules that we're talking about, the other way around, the word should be applied now. And I think it should be open for these kids to have access more to their coaches, to the people that they want to be connected to. This is the important part of their life. So this will stem some of the mental health care issues that we are on. We're on guard thinking that it's coming, unless we are having an opportunity for.
Frozen again. I see where Tom's coming from. What you guys are doing, Cal, is incredible. And I hate stereotypes, because it bothers me since I've been out. That I sit in meetings and I listen to people, and they talk about all coaches care about is winning. All coaches care about is this. They're all selfish. They don't, they all they're about is the money. And it's so far from the truth. And you sit there and you go, these people have no understanding how much coaches care about society, about building bridges, about giving people a chance to change the cycle and change their station in life. And it has more than just for you, like people think, well, he has all those first-round draft choices. So who cares? You're in this thing for these guys for life. This isn't about just.
Let me just. Yeah, you're so on point, Seth, and what you're saying. Here's, and I've said this here in the state of Kentucky, and probably got some people mad. My hope is in 10 years, people are looking back and they say, this time where all of us coaches got together, that was their finest hour, and that was Cal's finest hour. Forget about national titles, wins, and all the other stuff that's happened. That was their finest hour, because it really made a difference. Aren't we all tired of people talking and putting papers together? How about putting groups together? We're going to talk about this, and it's done. The time for action is now. What Tommy and Frank and that committee are doing to say, we got to do away with test scores. They're not fair. They're unfair for an urban kid. They're unfair for a poor kid who's from a tough area. They're saying, do away with it. The APR, do away with it. That's not fair to those kids. And now what we're doing, you talked about a bridge. It is a bridge, but it's a bridge that they can stand on both sides. Right now, Most can stand on one side. We want you to be able to stand on both sides of the bridge. And so I'm like, look, you could tell I'm enthused about this. I'm passionate, and this is not an optic for me. And so, and again, I'm winding down. This isn't, well, what advantage? What are you talking about? This is, how do we use what we have as coaches? How do we leverage the connections we have with each other? How about this? Is there anything, because ADs and administrations are going to have to be like this with us. Instead of not trust, we got to be like this. And so how about we walk away? The NCAA is not involved in this. We've asked if they want to give money, okay, but they're not involved. But how about we look at them and say, if you would engage coaches, this is the kind of stuff that can happen. That is real change. And how about this? This happened in 4 weeks. Not 4 years, not through 22 committees and these people and those 25. This happened in 4 weeks. And not one coach that I talked to, and I've talked to most of the guys that are involved in this personally, they're all like, yeah, I'm in. This makes sense. This is easy. Now, it is easy and it's not easy to invest in this, and it's not your own child, but it is your athletic department. To do it for multiple years, yeah. But the rest of this, like I said, I'm proud of the coaches now. I mean, when I talk to football coaches, I'm talking to Nick Saban, I'm talking to Jimbo Fisher and Herb. It's unbelievable. When I'm talking to Gino Auriemma, when he's saying, let's get the women involved in this. And now it becomes a movement of, we're going to make a difference. And this is not 1 year. Let's see where this goes, where we can all look back and say, that was cool. And how about this one? And during the pandemic, and during all this that's going on with athletics, there's a moment in time to do it, and it's now. A year from now, the winds may change. Right now, winds at our back, the momentum is there. Coaches agree. Can you believe 50 coaches that compete and play against each other on the court and in recruiting have agreed to this? Seth, you coached. You don't think everybody's looking at each other like, well, what's he getting it from? And what's he getting it from? And how is this man? And it's black and white. It's the Latino. It's all of us saying, let's come together. And it's happening.
I think it's incredible, and I just think the teamwork of getting everyone to pull in the same direction. I really do understand how difficult that is, but between that and the vision of saying, and I say this all the time, coaches want to help someone get somewhere they can't get themselves. I mean, and most of the guys that got into coaching, you didn't get into coaching to become a millionaire. All right. You didn't get a coach to become the coach of Kentucky. You worked at 5-star. You gave him coaching because you know what? That was your passion. And you wanted to help someone. You wanted to help someone get somewhere they could not get themselves. You wanted to help someone.
I got to stop you, Seth. I'm going to stop you with that. Let's go back even farther. Why would I be a college coach? You played at Farley Dickens. You weren't very good, but you played there. I was at a Division II school. You weren't very good. Why are you laughing? Couldn't guard anybody, barely could shoot. But I'm looking like, how am I in coaching? You know how I got in coaching? A Jewish guy from New York believed in me.
Yep.
Am I right?
Oh, 100%.
I'm from Moon Township. Why would a Jewish guy from New York take a liking to me and believe in me more than I believed in myself, and said, you don't even get it? Well, why wouldn't we do that for these future leaders? Like my mother used to say, the greatest thing, dream beyond your surroundings. You're not responsible for this. You can be whatever you want. But I didn't believe. But 5-star, and then being around you guys saying, wow, like maybe we all could do this. I wanted to be a high school coach and teacher. I never wanted to be a college coach or a pro coach, where I was and got fired, by the way, in case anybody forgets that.
You were a very well paid amateur golfer at the time.
I was for 2 years. I was, after they fired me. But I would tell you, that's what this is. This is you don't have a connection. You do now. I don't have access and opportunity. You do now. Now, is it going to be competitive? Oh, yeah. These are access and opportunity. Prove it, who you are. And you don't have to be an athlete. We want women. There are 7 mayors in our major cities that are African-American women doing pretty good work in tough situations in major cities. Well, how about we get more women involved in this that we do? All I'll tell you, in 10 years, let's hope athletic departments begin to look different. In 20 years, let's hope we have 5 to 6 times the number of minority ADs that we have now, maybe more. Let's hope that we have business owners that start their own business. Let's hope we have CEOs of companies. Let's hope, how about this one? We have someone who becomes president of the United States through this program. Why not? And I'll say, I know this needs to start now. And that's why I'm so happy with the athletic departments, because you know what they could easily say? Look, let's do this in a year. You know, we're having to furlough, layoff. We're doing different things. And right now, well, wait a minute. We coaches are paying. It's coming through the John McClendon Fund. It's creating an opportunity. It's about mentoring for leadership and decision making. These are beginnings. These are springboards. That's what these are. The biggest thing for me, 70 coaches, some of the best coaches. And let me say this, there's probably another 150 that look at it and say, I can't quite afford that. But I would say go to minorityleaders.org. If you're a candidate and you want to apply, if you're a coach and you want to get involved, if you're an athletic director or in an athletic department and want to learn more, if you're a business and you want to give money, please do it. Please do it, because it's going to this.
That's awesome. Cal, you guys are doing great work, and I appreciate I appreciate you doing this. It's great you're wearing your mask. Stay safe. Enjoy your team. I know having the kids back on campus, I always say it, the thing I miss most is what you're about to do right now. Yep. Having a team is a privilege. People don't realize it. And enjoy your team, enjoy practice, and I can't thank you enough for doing this, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Max, we good?